Hello everyone, welcome to this new video series on time series analysis with a very brand new library called skTime. Currently I am on the GitHub page of this library called skTime, and I feel it is very new library because I have just been informed by someone that there is a library called skTime, which is actually quite cool for making time series analysis and making time series forecasting models. So I thought let's give it a try, and I thought why not make a tutorial series around that. I have not fully explored this particular library. I was only able to run forecasting models, and I am pretty happy with the results that I have been able to get. Because when you use skTime library, then what happens is you will feel like you are using sklearn library, and they have also named it in a very parallel manner. I mean, there were already two libraries with sk prefixes like sklearn and skimage. So now we have a library called skTime, and I feel the results are quite awesome, and it is also going to be very popular just like sklearn and skimage. So without further ado, let's get started. So what is the idea? So the idea is that as I move along this particular series, what I'm going to do is I'm going to explore and further make a video around one topic at a time for time series. So essentially we will first be studying some theory of time series, and then we will start applying those theories in real action using skTime library. Okay, so before I do actually anything, I would like to first of all go over the installation, and I would like to first of all show few things that you can do with skTime library. So for that we would first of all like to go to the search bar and open Anaconda prompt or whatever. If you have command prompt, if you don't have Anaconda installed, then what you can do is you can simply open your command prompt, and from that command prompt you need to enter this command called pip install skTime. So the installation might take some time because it has various dependencies like it depends on sklearn itself, it depends on pandas, numpy, and some other libraries too. So for my case it will be saying requirement already satisfied because I just installed, and I explored a lot of things in skTime, and the performance is simply amazing, and I feel you are as excited as I am because there was no standalone library for doing time series analysis in Python. There was a library called stats model. With stats model, what you could do is you could build simple ARIMA and ARMA models, moving averages and autoregressive models, but stats models library was only limited to statistical models. So for doing machine learning type of thing with time series data, you will have to do your own thing. Obviously you can use you could use sklearn for that, but as I will show you in this particular series that to get your data into the right shape for building the machine learning models using sklearn library takes a lot of work. Okay, so to actually so that is what this skTime library does for us. So there are lots of helpful functions and libraries, as I have seen while I was exploring this library, to accomplish that particular task for us. Okay, so we will be learning all of that. So let's get started. So how do we make sure that skTime library has been installed? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all change my directory to the desktop, and I'll make a new folder for this particular tutorial series, and I'll call it time series analysis. Okay, so now I will have a folder called time series analysis, and it just took time series. Okay, I need to put it in double quotes. Yes, so we have a library called time series analysis. What it did earlier was it created three separate directories, but I need this time series directory. So what I will do is I'll go inside this directory, And now that I am inside this directory, I'm going to open Jupyter Notebook. So I will be coding in Jupyter Notebook because it makes it really easy to build and try out models, because even I am not comfortable with skTime as of now, but I will be getting comfortable as I move along this particular tutorial series. Okay, so let's get started. So let me open Jupyter Notebook really quick, and I'm going to open a new notebook, Python 3 notebook, and I'm going to name it video first. So this is the first video. So in this video we are going to be checking whether the library has been installed, and there are few functionalities also that we will quickly show. So first of all, I'm going to import skTime. Okay, so the skTime library has been successfully imported. So how can I make sure that this library has been working correctly? So one of the functions that comes with skTime library is called datasets. So obviously, just like sklearn, we have a dataset module, submodule in skTime also. So what I can do is I can do something like skTime dot datasets, and I can do something like load airlines. It is saying skTime has no attribute called datasets. Why? Okay, let me do this thing from skTime import datasets. Now, so this time it should work. So datasets dot load airline. So yeah, these datasets we get once we install skTime. So let me load this airline data, and let me store this airline data in airline. Okay, and let me quickly look at this particular data. Now you can quickly see the way it looks. So you might be asking yourself that what exactly these values are representing. Okay, so these values are actually the number of flights taken in a particular month starting from 1960 to I guess 1980. So why can I call it a time series data? So first of all, let me quickly demonstrate what is time series data. Okay, so time series data, as we can clearly see from the definition itself, is a data is a it can be a one dimensional data or multi-dimensional data. It is a data set which is indexed by time. And what do I mean by indexed by time? So we have a variable, we have only one single variable, and that one single variable's value are recorded at fixed intervals of time. Here the variable that we are considering is number of flights that are taken. Now number of flights that are taken in United States in various months. So in the first month of 1960, in the second month of 1960, in the third month of 1960, you get the idea. So essentially these values are belonging to one variable, and these values are indexed by time. And the reason we are saying it is indexed by time is because we are storing these values in various months, and we are not necessarily restricted to just storing the values for each month. We can store it for each day, each seconds, each hour also. Okay, so all those type of data points are known as time series data points. Okay, now time series data points can further be classified as univariate time series and multivariate time series. Univariate time series and multivariate time series. Now what do we mean by univariate and multivariate? When I talk about univariate, the data set that we have just looked will be considered as a univariate time series because we are only looking at one variable at a time. So we can say that univariate is a variable where we look at one variable at a time, for different time periods. Okay, we see multiple variables at a time for different time periods. Okay, for multivariate time series data. So this is the basic distinction between univariate and multivariate time series data. Obviously we have not covered whole of time series, but there are many aspects which are remaining right now, but I hope you get the basic idea. So one of the basic things that we do whenever we get a time series data is to actually plot the data. Now, to plot this airline data, what we can do is we can import matplotlib library. Let me increase the cell size a little bit. Okay, so let me import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Now, next, what I can do is plt.plot, and I can pass this airline variable. Let me pass this airline variable, and as you can see, this particular data has been successfully plotted, and we can clearly see as we move along the x-axis, we are seeing that the value of the number of flights taken is also increasing. So this is the nature of the time series, because we are measuring it along the time. So x-axis is essentially representing the time itself. So after plotting it, it turns out that skTime is providing one very convenient function for plotting. We will explore more about that function in later videos, but let me quickly plot this same airline variable using the function which is provided by skTime. Now skTime's plotting function is capable of doing much more than what I am showing right now, but just for the sake of demonstration, I am showing it for a very simple case. When we will build much more complex models, then for those cases I am going to show how powerful that function which is known as plot ys is. So that function is really powerful. So let me quickly import that function first. So I'll say from skTime dot utils dot forecasting dot I think, yeah, so from utils, from sklearn dot utils import forecasting. I think I'm making some mistake. So from sklearn dot utils, let me see, import plot ys. It is saying we cannot import this. Okay, I think I need to further specify more libraries like plotting. Yeah, I think now I will be able to import this library, plot ys. Still I am not able to import this, so I'll say forecasting import plot ys. Okay, so now we have been able to import this plot ys library. Now what I can do is I can pass any time series variable to this particular variable, and it is going to plot that particular variable in a time series format in a much more clearer way than what we would do with our default matplotlib. Now you might ask, now this is the last part of this particular video, we will cover more parts in later videos, but one question that you might ask is, why would someone prefer plot ys over matplotlib when they are pretty much resulting in the same plot? The only difference is in the size. Watch this, I'll show you one very cool thing, and that thing is, in the plot ys we can specify as many time series as possible. So let me say airline all the way to, let's say, 30, and airline from 30 to all the way to end. Now I am specifying two different time series, although they are belonging to the airline variable only, but still I have splitted the airline into two parts. First 30 values, and next I don't know, maybe how many values were there, 144, because Python's indexing starts from 0. So 144, out of 144 we are printing 30, we are considering 30 as a different time series, and remaining 114 different time series. So what I can do is I can specify labels, and labels will be a list of all those labels that I want to consider. Like for airline 1 I want to consider, let's say, first, and for airline 3 I can say second. Okay, now if I plot this, now notice this is the power of this plot ys function. Now it is very handy function because I can, in this manner, I can specify as many different time series as possible, and it is going to do pretty much all the things for me by default. Okay, so I'll stop the video right here because it has already become quite long, because I thought I will just introduce all of you to the concept of time series, and I'll introduce you all to this powerful library skTime. So from next set of videos we will start looking at more advanced topics. So I hope you enjoyed this particular video. Consider subscribing to the channel if you don't want to miss the notification that you will be getting after I upload a new set of videos in this series. Okay, and also consider giving it a thumbs up because it is going to encourage me a lot to make more such content. Okay, so thank you so much for watching the video. Have a nice day.